Good evening and welcome to the Galway Students' News. I'm Mark Laherty.
The Synapse Tech Festival was hosted in the Ballyallen on September the 23rd for the third consecutive year running. The event included game demos and stalls from major IT companies. Speakers included Microsoft, Google, Amazon, SAP, Cisco and Schneider. The president of the university, Dr. James Brown, gave an introductory address to the festival. He praised Synapse for presenting technology as fun.
It's a carnival, and it's about the university and university students trying to understand and get value and get fun out of technology. Technology is fun. The notion of a carnival celebrating technology is exactly that. It's valuable, it's technically interesting and literate and encouraging and valuable, but it's also fun, and students and people should get fun out of these technologies. So I want to welcome that aspect of it.
Alison O'Brien, Galway Student News.
The Literary and Debating Society had held a debate on the role of religion in society on the 17th of September. Several long-standing concerns were brought in during the debate, such as the moral benefits and drawbacks of religion. Before the debate, the minutes were read out by the recording secretary, Ciara Maloney.
We agreed that we should teach the good Sock and Paul, that Anne is the most controversial Bronte, that cannibalism is okay, that men should do chores, that NUIG is dope, that the Donegal rally is dope, that Nick Cage is dope, that the VMAs are not dope, that AI is pretty dope, that God is a chicken, and that we need vision or something. We also decided that religion isn't more important than science, that Matthew Ryan shouldn't be the next world ruler, and that college isn't just like secondary school. Our winner was Owen Finn, who collected a well-deserved Catwoman action figure.
Speaking for the proposition on the motion, the leader of Atheist Ireland, Michael Nugent, argued that religion is necessarily harmful by its very nature.
There are two underlying reasons that are quite significant that cause religion to inevitably cause harm. And the first is that religion corrupts our sense of reality. And the way that it corrupts our sense of reality is that it encourages us to believe implausible or untestable claims. If I was to say to you here today that on my way here I was talking to Bill Gates of Microsoft, and he told me that I was to tell you that if you vote with me on this motion that he would give everybody in this room $1 million, you would immediately realise that what I'm saying isn't true. But if I was instead to say to you that I was talking today to the creator of the universe, and that he told me to tell you that if you do what I say, that he will give you an eternity in paradise, some people would believe it. The second way that religion inevitably causes harm is because religion corrupts our sense of morality. You end up with Catholics believing that it's right to deny AIDS victims condoms in Africa. And you end up with Muslims believing that it's right for men to be able to beat their wives in certain circumstances. And you end up with tribal, indigenous, religious people in Africa killing albino children because they believe that their body parts have magical properties.
Speaking for the defence in the motion, Conor Hogan, who is qualified in theology and in Christian communication, parodied his opponents by comparing religion to tennis.
It was 3rd of April 1993. During an unranked tournament in Hamburg called the Citizens Cup, Monica Seles was 1 set and 4-3 ahead in the second against Magdalena Maliva. That name isn't important. At the time, Seles was top of the world rankings, having won 22 singles titles in a row. She had also, at the age of 19, won 8 Grand Slams. It was at this point a crazed, obsessive Steffi Graf fan by the name of Gunther Page broke onto the court and stabbed Seles with a 9-inch blade. Considering Gunther's aim was for his idol to once again reclaim her place at the top of her sport, you cannot deny the success of his actions, as Graf was to win 10 of the next 15 majors, while Monica Seles didn't pick up a racket for another 2 years. Question then, who blames Steffi Graf for what was done in her name? You might dismiss this attitude as a little irrational, perhaps a mite ridiculous, but this is the kind of stance we take about religion all the time.
The second speaker for the proposition was Piers Clancy, who is a second-year law student.
I would somewhat disagree with my colleague, Mr. Nugent, when he says that morality comes from some sort of natural order where people work together, because I believe that morality itself actually comes from religion. If morality comes from God, but you believe that God wants you to do something that would traditionally be considered immoral from what has developed from this very basic concept of morality 2,000 years ago, then surely that would be moral. Because God is just, And if God isn't just, then what's the point? But the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, that what is just is completely subjective.
Finally, Dean Buckley spoke for defence of the motion. He is currently studying the philosophy of religion as part of his English and philosophy arts degree.
I think there's three very specific things that the proposition tonight would have to show for them to be able to prove themselves right. So the first thing I think is that they need to show that religion is a phenomenon. It tends towards bad. So that's it's not just a 50-50 whether it's going to be good or bad or not. It has a tendency to, in more cases than not, go bad. I think they need to show that religion does this due to specific features of religion as a class of ideologies, in the same way that economic theories are a class of ideologies, due to specific features of religion that other ideologies don't share. And I think they need to show that religion's intrinsic badness arising from these specific features is worse than any other kind of class of ideologies. And the reason I think they need to do all three of these things is because if they only do the first one, but not the second two, then all they've proved is that all ideologies tend towards bad. And if they don't do the first one either, then all they've proven is that ideologies are morally neutral in principle and develop moral value in how they're used, which is probably true and what I'm trying to prove over here, so that would be great.
After a chamber debate, which went off relatively smoothly, a vote was held on the motion. Surprisingly, the final vote ended in a perfect tie.
It's a tie.
The tie-breaking vote was left to the chair, David Malloy, but he refused to use his position to cast a deciding vote on the matter and left the motion unresolved.
I guess I have the deciding vote, and I abstain. We will have to agree to disagree.
This is Thomas Creamer, a reporter for Galway Student News.
And that's the Society News. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Good evening.